Hey, yo, what's up? Are my levels okay? Too loud? Too quiet? Can you hear me? How's it going, everyone? Just got to drop a quick Discord announcement to let everyone know I'm live streaming. Hello. Thank you. Next pizza. Hi, everyone. Hey, Just a Dude. Hey, Corwin. Hey, Jimo. How's it going? All right, Discord message sent. Hopefully some more people will come in. Yeah. So if you don't know, I'm planning on hosting a live office hour session every week from now on. So that's every Saturday at 9:30 a.m. PST. And the point of this office hours is something like a college course, or yeah. So if you remember from college, if you've been, there's usually like TAs or the professor will host some sort of session called office hours, where you can pop in and ask questions about the class. That's basically what I'm trying to do here. Office hours for Playdate development. So if you have questions about like Playdate stuff, or you're stuck on something in like your project, or you're trying to debug it, or if you have like questions about like programming in general, I know it's like super confusing, like coding stuff, and I have a decent amount of experience with like programming and making Playdate games. I suppose I've been doing Playdate dev for like a year, which is crazy to think about. So hopefully I'll be able to answer some of your questions. And yeah, so I mean, if you ever have any questions at any point during the live stream, feel free to just drop something quick in the chat, and I'll try to get it answered for you. If we don't have any questions about like development stuff, I know like usually there's like not too many viewers, so uh, I'm happy to take like any other questions too, about the YouTube stuff, game development, um, and my life, whatever. um, I, down for whatever. This live stream's to for you guys. So um, hey Zays, hi Isaac, what's up? How's it going? I think I just got a quick message. Oh. Yeah, so where's everyone tuning in from? I know Good Guess, another game dev YouTuber, always asks this question. And I'm curious to see where people are from. I'm currently in Washington right now, Washington State, the Pacific Northwest. Um, if it's morning, evening, afternoon, yeah, and then anytime you have a question, I think there's not going to be a. I don't know how many people are going to be stopping by or have any questions about development stuff. So if you have, you can ask like general questions and stuff too. Oh, I should probably make a pin message. Oh, cool. So, wow, a lot of Europeans, Denmark and Switzerland. Um, I would love to go to Denmark and Switzerland at some point. Canada. Uh, I love Canada. Oh, Canada. Pennsylvania. It's weird out here. Why is it weird in Pennsylvania? Um, oh, California. Oh, you just ordered a couple of days ago. Yeah, I've had I see a lot. There's a decent number of comments and stuff of people saying that they've ordered Playdates. Sometimes after watching my videos. I feel like a spokesperson for the Playdate stuff. Um, but yeah, so that's a bit strange. Let me just drop a pinned comment to mention the point of the live stream. Okay, so Pizza has a question. Are there any game types that haven't been done which you'd love to see on the Playdate? Yeah, so there's actually so much space to explore with Playdate development. I like I'll be honest, I don't actually play that many Playdate games. Um, well, one of the reasons is because I don't play that many games in general these days. But another reason is because um, I feel like there's like some genres that I feel like I would like to play more, but yeah, they don't exist. Uh, like I think last time I mentioned like a card deck building game. I would love. I'm gonna try to make something like that. Um, More like 3D games would be cool, but I get like because of the performance issue like limitations on the Playdate, it's kind of difficult to do that. I would love to get into that as well at some point. And I don't know, some like I think we're still pretty early on in the Playdate development uh envi- journey, I guess, in terms of the whole community. So there hasn't been like games that have like been super in depth. So I think there's still a lot of space to explore with that. They're all like kind of more shorter experiences or puzzle games, which are great, but I don't personally play those that much. So yeah, I don't know. There's like so many game types that I feel like should be done and need to be done on the Playdate that haven't been done yet. But I think it just comes with time. Um, so Drake is asking about Tatim mode. So would it be possible to change the screen orientation in real time using the accelerometer? Yeah, I mean, so the thing with the Playdate is the screen just shows whatever you want it to show. Like you're completely in control of what's being displayed. So, for example, I just pull up something real quick. Say the screen is something like this, right? And you have maybe there's like some obstacles that are pointing this way. And then when you're holding it in tate mode, um, like the obstacles would need to be turned vertically. But there's no like OS level things that are being drawn. This all the drawing calculations are being held by your code. So I feel like so basically what you would need to do is like you'd be check if like the play date is the accelerometer is pointing like you know in a horizontal direction or something, then you would like draw this part, and then otherwise then you would draw this part. There's there's nothing specific that is making it so that like you can't do that. You just need to write the code manually yourself. Um, but it would be difficult because there's so probably in an actual game there'd be so many things drawn to the screen. So you would probably want to create some sort of system to like automatically do it, but you would need to create that system yourself. Hope that helps answer your question, Drake. Um, so Goodsock asks about they haven't seen many platformers. Um, yeah, that's a good point. I thought we would see more platformers as well, but I can't tell if it's like people just don't know how to do it or if it's too difficult. Um, I don't I don't think it's that bad like that. There's a lot. I think there's a decent amount of resources in how to like code platformer physics. So I'm a bit surprised about that as well. But maybe in time there'll be more. platformers. Um, and yeah, Dan says platformers are kind of cliche. Yeah, maybe. It's like the whole thing with the fishing games, how people don't didn't make fishing games because they thought everyone else would make fishing games, so there's no fishing games. It might be that. Platformers are pretty cool. I liked I yeah, but we'll see. So Nick asked, any chance of posting an example of how to use LDTK importer to set different Z indexes or different LDTK layers? For example, a layer that will appear above the player. Wait, let me try to understand the question. To set different indexes for, yeah, I mean, let me see. So let me pull up the Microvania tutorial. So what Nick is asking is basically there's this library called LDTK importer that takes levels from this level builder called LDTK, and they have different layers. Yeah, so if you just look at this line right here, this is setting the Z index, and currently this is being managed actually by the LDTK library. But I think the Z indexes are like, they're either really low, they're somewhere around 0. So it's like either like the Z indexes are like 0, 1, 2 or something, or they're like 0, -1, -2. I kind of don't remember. You need to check, but you could just manually create your own. Like, for example, like instead of this, you can just do like if layer name equals some layer, maybe like clouds or something. You want the clouds to appear in front of the player, then like you can just set the layer sprite Z index to something like whatever 1000, or set it to like Z indexes dot something. I'm not sure. I mean, if you want to automate it, you'd have to write some sort of thing for it, but manually, I don't think it'd be too difficult. I think. Yeah. So yeah, Nick responded saying, "Oh, they're all getting different Z indexes. I thought I was getting squished into one layer in your tutorial." I don't think so. Yeah, I think it's because there's only one layer basically. If you look at the tutorial, I'm pretty sure there's only one layer, which is why it's not getting squished. There is only one layer, so that's why it seems like that. I think. So next question, Good Socks asks, "What's your favorite game from season 1?" Probably Ratcheteer. I don't think I've ever finished, but that game is so polished and amazing. That's like, I mean, that's one of the most impressive games on the Playdate for sure, by far. But they've been working on that for like years, so it's not really like the competition is not. It's not quite fair. What other games are there? I like Omaze. That was pretty. That was a good puzzle game. Yeah, and Inventory Heroes was kind of a fun one to pick up. So Zay's asked, do you listen to anything while coding, like music or podcasts? If so, what kind? Yeah, I do. So I would love if I could listen to podcasts while coding. Like one of my favorite podcasts is a podcast called My First Million. But the thing is, like, I can't focus on listening to the podcast at the same time as coding. So I usually listen to music. The music I listen to is, I listen to a lot of like J-pop, so Japanese like pop music. So think like YOASOBI or like Yuri or like Radwimps and like Yorushika and people like that. It helps because like I'm not fluent in Japanese, so like most of the time I can't really understand the lyrics. So it's kind of like, how in video game music, it's like there's no lyrics or anything, so it helps you get into the focus state. It's kind of like that. It's like white noise, but like a good sounding white noise. So hi, Lil Nuggy says hi. What's up? So William Ludstein says, where do you get art for your games? So I just go on itch.io. So let me pull up HIO. So let's see. Yeah, check this out. If you go on HIO and you go by game assets and you search by tag 1-bit, there's like a bunch of stuff. And so I just like scroll through this and I'm like, what looks good? Yeah, this looks good. Don't mind if I do. So, I mean, like, what is this? What is this? These are like what I used. But I mean, like this I used in the King's Dungeon, this I used in Almost Tennis, and this I used in Pocket Pets. And this I used for the the tutorial for the Metroidvania. So it's basically all from this page. Yeah, that's my secret, not so secret. So Gusok asks another question. In objects, there's an init function. What does a super.init thing do? Oh, that's a great question. So that goes into this concept called object-oriented programming. So I actually have a video on that on my channel, but I can do a quick overview. So basically, there's a concept called object-oriented programming, which makes it so code can be structured into something like objects. So if you think about, let's say you have an enemy. So maybe you have like a goblin, right? So this is your goblin class. But then you want to have like a goblin leader, right? Goblin king, right? Another enemy, goblin king. But the thing is, this goblin king is probably going to share most of the code with the goblin, right? So for example, there'd probably be some sort of attack function. I can't spell. There'd be some sort of like I don't know, like AI functionality, and then a bunch of other stuff like getting like their health or whatever. So basically, these things are shared between these two like concepts. Instead of like rewriting all the code, which is bad, you typically don't want to like rewrite code, because let's say you have to change it in the future, then you'd have to change it in both places. And imagine you have that like across like several different areas. It gets unsustainable. So what you can do is something called object-oriented programming, and you can basically set this. This is like a parent class, and then this will be like a child class, and then this will extend. So Goblin King will extend the Goblin parent class, right? And so when you say super, the super keyword is basically, what it means is like you're pointing back at the parent. That's what super means. So what you're doing is the goblin class will have some sort of init method. Right here. Goblin class will have an init method, right? But it's not like in here. Maybe what you do is you initialize some things like health and attack and like a bunch of other things. But when you have a Goblin King and their own init method, this one is not automatically called. So you have to manually call it using the .super.init syntax. Yeah, it's a little bit confusing why you have to write it that way. It's a bit different like from everything else, but there's a reason for it. But basically that's why. And the thing why you have to do it manually is because sometimes you don't actually want to call the init method of the parent class for several different reasons. Or maybe you want to call it in a different area or something. So that's a reason. I don't know if that was confusing or not, but that's what it's doing. So another question, just a dude asked, how long from pre-order group opening to pre-order group shipping does it usually take? Don't know. You have to maybe ask somewhere else. Maybe, yeah, I don't want to give an answer for that because I don't want to get it wrong. So Harrison asked for an update on the Gladiator game. So I mentioned, I think in the last, I think the devlog after my Gladiator game, I forgot when I mentioned, but I mentioned that I was gonna go on. I was putting that game on hold indefinitely. Um, I think I bit off a bit more than I could chew because it was a little bit too, yeah, the scope was too big. But I felt like I needed to build up my skills in other ways in order to like to like make a game that large or what I had planned for it. There was just too much content to create. But I think I'm getting, as I'm slowly releasing more and more games, like the scope is getting a little bit bigger. So hopefully, I want to revisit that project at some point and take it in a little bit of different direction. Yeah, sorry for, um, yeah, sorry for misleading you with that. Yeah, I mean, I was disappointed in myself as well. So I wish I could um, have finished that Gladiator series. It was just a little bit too difficult. Um, oh yeah, so Cartoon Games just asked what is office hours. So basically, you can think of office hours. Maybe I should name it something else. I don't know. Is it confusing? Um, Office hours is like a concept in uh, that you typically see in college where for a class, either a TA or professor hosts like a session where you can come in and ask questions about the course. So basically, what I'm having is like Playdate office hours. So you can ask questions about Playdate development or programming in general and stuff and everything, and I'll try to help you. So if you have any questions about development or you're confused about some programming concept, yeah, please just drop in the chat and I'll like try my best to explain it in a good way. Eventually, I think what I want to do is have it so people can hop onto Discord with me, like on a Discord voice call, and then share their screen or share the project, and I can like live debug their code. Um, so I don't know. I it seems a little bit logistically difficult to do, but I think that'd be kind of cool because I feel like some people have like question that might be more helpful because like there's sort of specific questions that you could have. Um, about like your code that you need help with um, that uh, that might be easier to debug live. Um, so another question. So Tricode asks, do you plan on making videos on other programming languages in the future? Uh, yeah. So the next programming uh, language would maybe be um, C, since there's a C API for the Playdate, but I haven't gotten around to that yet, but I do want to get to that eventually. I'm not sure when I would get to it. This is not, I wouldn't really make a tutorial for this, but I do have an idea for like a devlog. I think it'd be really cool to have like a devlog where you make a game using assembly. Uh, and I want to try doing that at some point because those videos do kind of well where people are like, oh, I made this game in C. But I haven't really seen any devlogs where like I made this game in assembly, so that could be fun. Um, so Gitsock says, so copies the init method from the parent without having to rewrite it. Yes, exactly. That's exactly what it does. Yeah. Well, sort of. Yeah, you can think of it that way. So let's see. Benjamin, yeah, go ahead and drop the question. I'm not looking at the Discord right now, so you can just drop it here. So Harrison asks, is Playdate easier to code for than other traditional gaming platforms, computer, mobile? Depends on how you're doing it. So if you're using a game engine like Unity or Godot or Unreal, no, I think those would be easier because the development environment is like way more I mean, like if you look at, let's pull up Godot. Wait, where is this over here? So if you look at Godot, what's nice is you have like a visual interface. Like look, like I can look at the entire map for this game, and then let's say like I have this thing here. oh, if I want to move it, I'll just move it over here, and like I can do it on screen. And there's like a bunch of different things. Like, let's say I want to add a node for something, and there's like a million different things that you could do, like with all this stuff, and it's all like laid out there for you, like on a graphical interface. But if you're coding for like the Playdate, like if you want to place something somewhere, look, you have to like literally manually type the numbers, and you have to code everything yourself. So in that way, I would say it's more difficult, but depends on what you're doing, because you can make games in a similar sort of environment as well. Like for example, another framework is like Love 2D, or if you're like coding a website and you're doing it using like React and JavaScript and stuff, it'd be kind of similar. Yeah, but there are definitely easier ways to make games. So Pizza asks, what are your thoughts on pricing of Playdate games? They seem to wildly differ from very similar games in scope and polish. Catalog might change this. So my thoughts on, yeah, I've thought about this. I don't know. It's sort of a difficult question to talk about, I think. Let me pull up. So we can look at the games that are like on the Playdate right now. I think it makes sense that they're kind of more higher price. There is sort of a race to the bottom with like the pricing stuff that could happen if you like price it too low. Like for example, like the whole mobile game pricing, where first it was like, I don't know, however much, and then became like 99 cents for every game, and eventually they all became free. But I would say there's a point, like I would say it's reasonable to put a premium on it because of the niche that's like the Playdate platform, and it seems like consumer expectations for Playdate like owners is that they're like willing to pay more. So yeah, I mean you could just price it however you think it's worth. I'm not exactly sure. Like I've been pricing out my games at like $4 or making them free. I still don't know. I'm still like very up in the air with like the pricing stuff. I'm not exactly sure. Um, like yeah, like for example, this next game that I'm making with someone else, I think I might price it at $6, but I'm not sure. I'll have to talk with the person I'm working on with it. Um, so yeah, I mean, I'm interested to hear what people's thoughts are on pricing are. Like, what do you guys think about like how Playdate games are priced? With you think it's too expensive, too cheap? Like, what are you looking at? Are you even buying any games? Um, yeah. So just a dude ask, if I wanted to make games for the Playdate, if I wanted to use code and not pulp, should I learn Lua or C? I would say Lua. Um, if you don't know any of them, yeah, Lua for sure. C is kind of more difficult by a decent amount. Um, yeah, so definitely learn Lua first. I have a couple videos on my channel about that. Um, Good Stock said this is like school, but I don't hate it. Well, I'm glad. I guess I'm trying to make it like that. So Cartoon asks, have you thought of making a game engine for the Playdate? Maybe. I don't have like a. It would be kind of cool to have like a graphical interface to like drag and drop things around. I have thought about it, but it would be a really big undertaking to do that. Um, so I do have like some like pre-made like stuff that I use in like uh most games. Like for example, I always use this like scene manager to like handle like scene transitions, but that's just like one piece of code, like not really a full engine. Yeah. But I would be happy if someone else did it. I mean, there is a Noble engine. It's not like really an engine fully. It's more like a framework on top of a framework, but there's that. Okay. Let's see. Kitsa said has an idea. Maybe you can edit these explanations down and upload them as small videos or shorts or something. Yeah, I guess I could. I, yeah, I don't know. I think it'd be. My plate is like pretty full right now, and I have a lot of ideas for other content. So I think the return on investment on editing that, I think it wouldn't be high enough to justify my time. But that would be, yeah. If I had all the time in the world, I probably would. But I think it's like I need to prioritize certain things. Um, so Benjamin says they keep getting a warning pop up about the Playdate simulator running at their computer speed. I don't know. I've never gotten that before actually. So unfortunately, I'm not sure how to help you. You might be able to find something in the dev forum. So here's the dev forum. Maybe warning uh, Playdate simulator runs at computer speed. Warning. Pop up. Yeah, I'm not sure. Sorry. No idea. Uh, uh, Raz says hi. Hi. Tricode asks, have you ever made a Love 2D devlog? I have actually. Surprise, surprise. So this is kind of interesting. I had a whole sort of strategy. So you go back, gosh, there's a lot of videos. So here, at this point, when I made this Pico 8 video, this was before the Playdate came out. And I knew I wanted to make Playdate games / like tutorials. So I decided I was gonna learn like Lua. So before this video, so this is a little bit over a year ago. I didn't know Lua, but you know Lua is pretty easy to pick up if you know other programming languages. So I thought, you know, what other game engines use Lua? And I heard Love2D, like the Panic employees were talking about how Love2D is actually really similar to the Playdate or Playdate SDK. So I was looking into that, but then I saw Pico 8 also use Lua, and I was sort of interested in doing Pico 8 stuff. So I decided I was going to learn Lua and learn Pico 8 at the same time. And then so I made this game. And then the week after that, I used Love2D and I made like sort of a blacksmithing game. So I can kind of. So it's kind of interesting. Like it was like a blacksmithing game. There's sort of like mini games, I guess. I don't know. Like the game was all right, but yeah, this is my Love2D game. Yeah, so like I used these to learn Lua, and then I made this game in Godot to kind of get practice with like making 1-bit games. And then you can see afterwards. Yeah, don't worry about this video. And then I jumped DC. I jumped into PulpScript stuff, and then it was Playdate all the way after that. So there's a sort of a strategy in the beginning. Let's see. Raz asks, how do you cope with the limited color palette? Well, I use like pre-made assets for one. So I mentioned this before. Like I yeah, I mean a bunch of people have made great art already. I also use dithering. So let's see. I believe there's this tool called the 1-bit dither tool by Tim Hay, and it takes any picture and you can dither it. And so that's like maybe a strategy where you can take pictures like from other palettes and stuff, and then turn it into a 1-bit. So I do that as well. But you know, art's not really my strong suit. Let's see. Harrison, yeah, no problem, Harrison. Yeah, says what you're saying about letting someone else do all the hard work. Yeah, pretty much. I I think there's like kind of a lot of effort into doing the upkeep and stuff and everything. I think my time maybe is better spent like making games and videos, I guess. So Pizza has some thoughts about pricing of Playdate games. Oh, by the way, if you're just tuning in, I'm doing something called office hours. Basically, it's like a space where you can ask questions about Playdate development. Um, but you can also ask any other general questions as well. But if you have questions like specifically about like programming stuff and everything, I'd be happy to answer. But anything around Playdate stuff is good too. Um, or you can ask general questions about me, my channel, my life, or whatever. I'm happy to answer those as well. So yeah, back to Pisa's comment about monetization. So he says, I feel like pricing between $1 to $10 seems fair and a good market value. Most games I'd pay way more for what they're actually selling for, like Cat World, which only costs $2. Yeah, yeah. Back to the pricing thing. Yeah, $1 to $10 seems fair. Yeah, I'd be interested to see what like kind of a bigger game would like call for, like what a $20 plated game would look like, or a $15 plated game would look like. Let's see. And Zays talks about thinking that most people wouldn't want to spend more than $5-6 for a plated game. Yeah, there's sort of an equilibrium that you have to hit, like what the supply and demand, I guess, or the pricing sort of economics about that. It's definitely an interesting question, and I feel like it's sort of hard to answer. So Good Socks says, "Can we have a sneak preview of your next game?" Yeah, sure. Since you guys are here, why not? I'll give you a sneak preview of the next game. Super exclusive. So this next game is called Core Fault, and it's a collaboration between me and a secret guest, and it's a Vampire Survivors like game. So the person I'm collabing with did all the art, and yeah, maybe. Oh, shoot! There's a bug. Okay, maybe you can't see it. Cur level. I was making some changes like right before. Oh, uh, this videos, and I didn't test my changes, so where was that? I didn't see what the bug was actually. Let's see. Selection panel 157. You can see my live debugging process. Yeah, okay, what? I'm not actually sure what. I'll just comment this out actually. I want to be able to show this actually. I think it'd be cool. I'll just make a quick workaround, and I'll look at some other questions while we're loading this. So Dan asked, "How do you feel about MacBooks?" Yeah, I think MacBooks are cool. I'm gonna try to get a MacBook soon actually, so I can make some tutorials about Mac stuff, and mainly because during while traveling, I want to like do some game development. So I think I'm gonna get a MacBook soon. So yeah, this is a Vampire Survivors like game. So you can pick like what ability you have. Let's do shock prod, and basically you can move around with a crank, and then you're like fighting enemies like Vampire Survivors style. And it's a little bit different because you after like you kill enemies, you're trying to get like experience enough to like go down to the next level, and then you can also mine like these ores. Yeah, the devlog is maybe going to come out, and we're almost done with the game, so I think the devlog will come out maybe, not sure, like soon. Maybe a little bit more than a week and a half. Okay, anyways, that's all you guys get to see. Yeah, so next question. So Siplock said that they learned about the Playdate from my channel, and they didn't know it was made in my home country. Oh, yeah. It's made in Malaysia. Yeah, it is. So that's cool to know. I would love to visit Malaysia at some point. So Tricode asks, who are some of your favorite game dev YouTubers? Well, I like. Let me pull some of them up actually. Official. Let's see. So these are probably 3 I can think of off the top of my head. So I love Good Guess. We're friends now. And yeah, what an inspiration. I love his videos, his games, his like the whole vibe of his channel. And we did a little bit of a collab. So that was really awesome. I was like, wow, get to collab with like one of my favorite game dev YouTubers. Like it was like pretty early on too, like 7 months ago. And then Matrix is, the OG. I remember I actually got into like wanting to do game development dev vlogs because of him, because I remember discovering his Equilinox. Where is this? Does he not have the Equilinox? Oh, right here. So you see, there's 125 videos of like him making this game. I discovered this. It came up on my feed at some point or something, and I remember I went all the way back to the beginning, and I literally binged every single episode. And it took like days to do, but I was like, my eyes were glued to the screen. I was so shocked. I was like, this is crazy. I can't believe I'm watching someone make a game like this, step by step. And I was like super inspired to get into game development and stuff. Yeah, so he's amazing. And then this guy Artificial, so cool. That's all I have to say. And then I like Sebastian Leg. I don't know how to pronounce it, but you know who I'm talking about. And there's probably a bunch of other people I'm missing. But those are ones I can think of off the top of my head. Yeah, let's see. Dylan says, I have the Playdate since the first shipping, but I haven't played it a bunch, thinking about trying to develop a couple of ideas I have for it. Yeah, I mean, I actually haven't played that many Playdate games either. Like, I think the most fun for me is actually making games. So I think you're in good company in that regard. I don't know. I feel like currently it's more fun to make games because I think we're at a certain period of time where there's actually a lot of different genres that are like common genres or like games that are you'd expect from a console, but that don't exist yet because no one has made it for the Playdate. So it's at a unique opportunity where you could actually like be the first to do something for a game, like first to make a certain type of game, which is kind of cool. And like I feel like it's early on enough where it could be something a little bit more simple, but it's like since it's on the Playdate, there's like a certain novelty to it. Yeah. Let's see. Next comment from JCat, who says, I tinkered with Lua over the holidays, and I was disappointed by the standard library. No map, reduce, etc. Has that bothered you when developing? No, not really, because usually you can just find. Yeah, I guess I didn't. I haven't really thought about it because usually I just Google like how do I do something, and then usually the first answer on Stack Overflow is like generally the correct thing, or spend a little bit of time and just write my own custom solution. So yeah, I don't mind doing things a little bit more manually. So yeah, not much. I mean, the cool thing is it's so like the development is so quick and simple that you can just like write your own little library. That's what I did. I think I forgot where I did it. Maybe let's see. Maybe here. Let's see. Yeah. So I wrote my own like tiny little library. I just called it utilities, and then every time I want to add some sort of like this like functionality that I wish I had, I just like write a quick function to do it and then store it into this table, and then I can use that like library anywhere else. Like For example, devices, then you can just import it from as into like a local, like store into a local variable, and then you can just like call your functions like here. So if you're annoyed about the standard library, yeah, I guess it's a little annoying, but I mean there is sort of a cool feeling when you can just like write it yourself and then and store it for later. Let's see. So Dylan asked, do you have a specific goal for your Playdate development? Are you just trying to make profit on the games you make for it? Is it practice in programming and design so you can take it to another platform? Yeah, so that's a good question. So I'm trying to become. There's like multiple different things I'm trying to do. So one is I'm trying to make this like full time. So I do want to become like a full time YouTuber slash game developer, because I think it'd be amazing to have that sort of financial independence. So that's like I'm thinking a lot about that, but that's more on the YouTube side. So I'm trying to make the best videos and try to improve and stuff. But the thing is like with that, there's like a lot of different vehicles I suppose I could have chosen instead of the Playdate to do that. But I was interested in Playdate, so I was like, why not? I'll make a channel around this. I think it'd be cool. But in terms of like the game development side, yeah, I think like I want to become a better game developer. There's like game developers that I look up to. For example, like there's this develop like any of the like sort of solo devs, whoever, like the person who made Inscription, what was his name? Like Inscription developer, Daniel Mullins. He's like an inspiration, and then also the person who made like any of the solo devs that I can think of, like Johan Peitz, who does a lot of like Pico 8 stuff, and then also like I'm trying to think. I actually I'm blanking. Daniel Linson, who does a lot of like game jam stuff, like with Ludum Dare. Like these game developers, like who are like super good at making really polished games, and they can do it really quickly. I think that's so cool. Like I think it'd be really cool to be able to make all like the code, the art, the music, and everything for a game, and then make it really good and polished, and finish it in like a week or 2 weeks. Or to like get to the point where, yeah, I can just make a really tight, well designed indie game. Like for example, a short hike. I feel like that's like a perfect example of like what I'm trying to aim for in terms of the scope of a game. Like I want to be an indie developer who can make a game like that, a short scope game that has like it's really meaningful and super polished. So I'm trying to get to that point, but basically like if you look at all these game developers who are really successful, in most cases who are good developers, like you can see a history of them making like tons of games. Like and so that's how they get all their experience. So for example, like I mentioned Johan Peitz. If you look at his website, like this just shows all the games that he's made. And look at this. It literally goes back like 30 years. Ever since all the way from 1995, and he's been releasing games like all the way since. So I figured it just comes from repetition. I just need to make like a bunch of games and a bunch of small games, finish them, and just keep doing that over and over again, and get good that way. And so that's like a long-winded answer for what my goal is. Yeah. So yeah, Derek Yu, yeah, he's awesome, for sure. So yeah, Dylan, you recommended the Boss Fight books on Spelunky. Yeah, I should look into it for sure. Um, so Benjamin uh, asks, I'm far off from implementing music into my game, and I'm not confident in my ability to make music. I'm thinking about finding a collaborator. What do I need to know before reaching out to someone? Um, what do you need to know? Well, I don't have much experience with this, but from what I've seen is I think people would want to work with people that they're inspired by, right? Or there's something that they're excited about. So I think this is a little bit simplistic, but if you just focus on making the game as good as possible, like I think people, not that they'll come to you, but they'll like if you show them like your game and it looks like really good and polished, like any like if a producer or composer um like comes up sees your game and feels like they really vibe with it, then I feel like they'll be inspired to want to work with you. So that's like my thoughts about that. But it's a little difficult, I think, to like be like, oh, I'm just gonna make a good game. But that's something to think about. But uh, if it's not like that, I don't know. I'm not really sure. I don't actually have that much experience with that sort of stuff. But yeah, if you're working for a collaborator, so there's different. I think two things. Like if you're looking at if you're looking for a freelancer, I suppose you can just hire them. But if you're looking for a collaborator specifically, then it needs to be something that like a game that's like good enough and inspiring enough that where someone would want to collaborate and be like they should be like feel ownership over the game as well. But yeah, I would say it's quite difficult. Um, so Tony asked, on the full-time YouTuber front, how much of your time is spent on code/music/polish for game dev compared to being a great video content creator? So I would say most of the time is spent on the game. So it's pretty interesting. Like I I had a weekly schedule, um, like in 2022, and how it would work is I'd release a video on Monday, and then what would happen is that Monday I would just kind of relax a bit since I'm like, oh, like I just finished making this video. I'm like so, done. And then on Tuesday I'd be like, okay, wait, I need to get my next video out next Monday. It's like, shoot, I need to start working on a game. So what I would do is I would make the game, like basically like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and maybe like a little bit into Friday. And I'll be like, oh shoot, I need to finish this game. So I was like, okay, the game is done. It's close enough. It's good enough, right? Or I'm like, shoot, I need another week, but I need to start working on the video. So then on Friday, I would like write the script, and then like try to record the lines. Or sometimes it'll take a little longer, so maybe I'd like record the lines on Saturday morning. And I cut it up and start editing the video. And then on Sunday, I'd have like this whole rush of like me trying to finish editing the video. I'm like, oh, I need to get this video edit done. It's like it sucks. And then I need to make like the thumbnail and think about the title and everything. And then Sunday night, I'm like, oh shoot, I'm exhausted. Like, okay, but thank God I'm done with this video. So then I put the video up on Monday. So if you think about it from that timeline, the majority of the time was spent on the game, I guess. And I'm like thinking about game design stuff. Then at the end of 22, I was like, this is so unsustainable. So then I pushed it to 2 weeks. And then my timeline basically became, so for the Metroidvania game, what I did was I spent an entire week making the game and then also a little bit more. So I think it ended up being 10 days to make the game. And then I spent like 4 days making the video. So that's like kind of the breakdown of how that worked. But I don't know. I'm trying to think of like, so I'm thinking it's like this next game I'm working on. I've been working on it for like basically a little over 2 months. So that is kind of different. So then for that, like the game always takes longer, I think. But I've been meaning the reason I pushed it to like made it 2 week schedule for this year is because I feel like I want to put more time into the video because in the beginning, um, there was more return from making more videos because I was so bad at like making videos and stuff and everything. I learned so much every time I made a new video, but now there's sort of a diminishing returns on like making each videos like in terms of learnings from it. So I decided like I'm gonna do every 2 weeks, and then maybe I'll change it in the future. Um, so yeah, there's that. So Dan asks something in a similar vein: is balancing your work life, personal life, and YouTube life difficult? Well, it's okay. Uh, um, in terms of personal life, um, like I don't have much of a social life, I guess. It's just I just hang out with my wife, um, and she's super understanding about this. So that's pretty much it. So that's like easy, and I don't have any other hobbies that much other than this. Like I literally almost all my free time is spent on YouTube stuff and game development. So yep, no worries there. And work life. So I switched jobs. It's been about maybe about a year ago, and I switched because I wanted to find a job where I can like work, have a way better work life balance. And I think the position I have, I lucked out on, and it works really well. So it's not too difficult, but it does take like, yeah, I just like focus up basically. So Paolo asks, which game are you more proud of, and which one do you think has more potential if you're ever to get back on it to add more content? Uh, I don't know. I'm not particularly proud of any game super much, to be honest. I think like, yeah, I think the Gladiator game was looking pretty cool. So I guess that one, but I wasn't able to finish it. It was just much out of scope. Yeah. So like, I'm still like, there's like sort of a expectation that I have of like what I think would be a good game. And I feel like there's like problem. Like that's the difficulty of being like sort of a creative where you have like your taste and then your ability. And for in the beginning, like the gap between your taste and your ability is so wide, it's like so daunting. So in most cases, people just quit at that point. But then you kind of a small portion of those people push through, and they're like, okay, I'm gonna try to get better, right? But it takes so long to get to the point where your abilities actually match your taste. And so I'm still like on that journey right now. So I feel like there's so much more I can do, but it's like I don't have that ability yet. So I just need to keep trying until I figure it out. Yeah, Tony said that's a tight sprint. It is, but it's a lot better now with the 2 week schedule. So Bram asks, what are some good concepts to look into when starting game dev? Uh, Programming, like learning how to code. It's probably like the main thing. If you don't know how to code, yeah, you should learn it. There's tons of resources online. If you do know how to code, then I would say the best concept is doing it, like just making games. Um, uh, yeah, like you learn the most by actually doing it. I think you can get in the whole concept. It's so easy to be like, oh, like I'm thinking of this game design stuff, like oh, the mechanics are going to work like this, and it's going to interact with like this, and then all this stuff, and you think of all these things in your head. But once you actually put the pen to the paper and actually start coding, it'll be really different from what you think, and you'll run into so many different issues that you don't even think about, and then you'll actually play your game, and this whole concept of what you think is fun in the game design is actually not fun when you're actually doing it, and you're like, what? And you learn so much every time from doing it. So just make tons of small games. Paolo says that they think I'm too critical on myself. Yeah, I am, which is, I think that's fine. Like I think, you're your own worst critic, right? But yeah, I know that I'm being like critical on myself, but I'm okay with that because like I'm still like proud of what I did. Yeah, maybe I should have worded it better. But I know I can do better, so I'm happy to push myself. And yeah, I enjoy that process. So yeah, no worries there. Um, The Gap by Ira Glass. Yeah, I forgot if that's. I don't know if I looked into that one, but I did hear from someone, so they might have probably just got it from somewhere. I think it maybe have been might have been from that. Okay, so I think it's been about an hour now. So I started this live stream at 9:30, and it's 10:30 right now, where I am. So yeah, thanks everyone for joining. This was really fun. I'll probably keep doing this. I I can't tell if this is like helpful or not. Like I feel like I'm just answering random questions. I feel like initially I wanted to like help people with Playdate development, but I feel like it's a good community building thing. So and I'm having fun. So I think I'll keep doing it. Um, and yeah, let me know if there's anything like specific that you would like to see for like future live streams, because maybe I feel like I can iterate on this and maybe switch it from like office hours to something similar or different. Um, but yeah, I think I'm gonna call it for now. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys next week. So thanks for stopping by. Thank you.